Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the Virtual Coffee Show. As usual, we've got an amazing lineup of guests. We've got Nicole Patterson from Study Queensland. We've got Tom Collin, our International Marketing Manager. We've got Mitski from PNG, and we've got Pavan Solanki from India. And we're going to basically talk about why one should choose to study in Queensland. And of course, there will be questions which our guests will ask to Nicole. And of course, you can look forward to some interesting facts and figures on studying in Queensland. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to invite Nicole Patterson from Study Queensland on the show. Nicole, here you are in 2 seconds.
Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation, Shrikant.
It's our pleasure, Nicole. How are you today?
Yeah, very well, very well. This morning it was a very foggy morning in Brisbane, but it's fined up to be a beautiful sunny day in Brisbane.
Excellent. So we obviously, have thousands of students choosing to study in Australia, and some choose Queensland, while others would go to Sydney, Melbourne, and any other city. What really makes Queensland so special? If you want to share maybe the top three key features of studying in Queensland, that'll be fantastic for a start.
Sure. Well, I think it's really about our safe and welcoming spaces. I think it's the student support, the safety and the welfare mechanisms that are in place. And it's also the nurturing of talent and employability while the students are here. That's what we're really priding ourselves on here in Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can also say that there's a diversity of cultures, of locations and study options here in Queensland, and also excellence in research and innovation. And I think when you look at the map of Queensland, you can see we have very, very diverse geographies from the rainforest to the reef, and our study options reflect that. So I think if we're talking about, three top reasons to study in Queensland, it's about our student support, it's about nurturing talent and employability, and also that diversity of cultures, locations, and study options.
Right. Students nowadays, because of the easy access to information, most of the students know that the weather is fantastic, cost of living is low. From a very Study Queensland perspective, what would you say are a few of the less known facts about Queensland? If you want to share something on
Sure.
those.
Sure. I think something I probably would like to share is our student hub network. So the student hub network is a part of that student support that I mentioned before, and as a part of our IET strategy to advance Queensland, we have a partnership fund, and through that partnership fund, we have been able to support and to co-invest in 3 student hubs that provide this student support in 3 main locations in Queensland. So Cairns, the Gold Coast, and Brisbane.
Right.
So these student hubs provide counselling services, a 1-800-Q study number, which is a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week student hotline that students and parents can access. Yeah, to get information on health or anything to do. There could be a natural disaster, a bushfire or something in the state, and a parent might be, concerned. They can ring that hotline and get some up-to-date information, because it is run by the Queensland Government, so it's all connected. So that student hub network is really quite unique in the world, I think, in terms of student support.
Right.
And through that hub network, we've been able to launch some really great employability and talent nurturing programs. And I think the latest one you might have seen advertised is the Launch You program.
Yes.
Have you
Right.
heard? Have you heard of that one?
Yes. Yes. Well, I haven't really seen much details, but yes, I've seen the launch you on your website. I thought maybe good idea to have a quick spill on that from you today, if you can.
Yeah, sure, sure. So this program has been a little while in the development stage, but it's basically bringing together existing programs that our providers, our universities, and our schools, and our vet providers and TAFE are offering. So bringing all of those programs together, and also bringing the new programs that we are developing. Onto one platform, um, and all of these programs students can participate in and receive micro credentialing or these badges, and
Right.
yeah, so basically they end up with a um, like a something that they can share on LinkedIn
Hmm.
to show that they have completed these programs, whether it
Right.
be their own university or one of our Queensland-wide programs that we've developed. So it's a
Excellent.
very
And
exciting platform, and I think it's
yeah,
probably world first. Um, yeah, and this is open to domestic students and also international students studying in Queensland.
oh, that's good. So
Mhm.
they get a certificate and they can, how long are these programs usually? Is there any time frame
Yeah, so it
as to
depends
how
on.
long they run? Yep.
It does depend on the program, and they actually receive a digital badge for completing these programs,
Mm.
and that's backed by the Queensland Government. So it's something that they can share, on LinkedIn, and um, yeah, they can be really proud of their achievements. Um,
That's good.
that can be, we have a Launch You Trade Accelerator program. So this is where students can actually have online or face-to-face, probably more online
Mm.
at the moment, but face-to-face professional experiences that develop their professional capacity,
Right.
capabilities. Um, yeah, and then they can have these experiences and get one of these digital badges from the Queensland Government.
Mm.
So
Right.
the Trade Accelerator program is actually they're assigned real life business projects
Right.
focusing on a specific international market. So we've got students
Mm.
working on actual projects for companies that are wanting to expand internationally. Um,
Right.
yeah, so it's a unique, given that Study
Very
Queensland,
interesting.
yeah, so given
Yeah.
that Study Queensland is sitting within trade and investment, where we have a
Right.
unique opportunity to reach out to businesses to
Right.
provide this kind of program. So we've had a lot of interest from students and employers.
Wow, that's good.
Mm,
That's good. That's very good to know.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's
Awesome.
probably the Launch U project is probably our biggest news
Oh,
in
great.
terms of student experience.
Awesome. So I
Mm,
should probably do like a news flash on this show saying launch you by Study Queensland now live or something.
exactly, exactly. Please
Awesome.
do.
No,
We
that's
can
very, very good to
provide
know.
you with we can provide you with any more information on that you need as well.
Oh, that'll be good. Thank you. Awesome. And we've got so many students. Obviously, because of the COVID-19, they are quite worried about what's going to happen in the future, not just with their studies, but with employment and opportunities. And that pretty much they present us with a question. Fine, we would can commit to our study in Queensland, but what's the plan? What's the Queensland government plan? Are there any projects which are likely to create employment opportunities, or are there any projects which can, boost the economy, the state's economy? So it will be interesting to know if the Queensland government is has got some projects in the pipeline or any developments which will assist, future students?
There is a lot in the pipeline actually. In terms of actually, what we're doing right now in terms of the COVID-19 response, we are working on a recovery plan, a Queensland Government wide recovery plan, and that is including all of the major industries in Queensland. So there's a lot of energy and funding that's going to be injected into that to ensure that there are, jobs available in the future, and that the recovery, the path to recovery is as smooth as possible.
Right.
We are also focusing on some major priority areas or priority industries in Queensland as well, and there's these include like biotech and aerospace, advanced manufacturing, biofutures, biomedical and life sciences, defence, and also mining equipment, technology and services. So these have been identified as priority industries for the Queensland Government, and 10-year roadmaps have been produced to ensure that significant investment continues to go into these areas. And this is diversification into the regions as well. Queensland is very diverse.
Our future students, they have these range of questions about Sydney, Melbourne versus Brisbane, and that's going to be a key question I'm sure our guests on the show are going to ask as well. But just for our understanding, what kind of diversity do we have in the state? Student diversity we have in Queensland. How many students, rather, from which countries, students are currently studying in Queensland?
In terms of diversity of cultures, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, 24% of the Queensland population was born overseas at the end of 2019.
Wow.
So one in 50 people were international students.
Right.
And Queensland, prides itself on having diverse and thriving communities, and with a diverse student mix as well. Obviously, we have students from China, obviously from India, Nepal, Brazil. They're the top four. Colombia, South Korea, Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Japan continues to be very strong as well.
That's great.
So we do pride ourselves on the diversity that we have here in Queensland, and even we have students from 160 different nationalities studying in Queensland.
That's great.
So and even with COVID-19, from the 135,000 students we had pre-COVID, we still have 90,000 students still here studying in Queensland.
I'm going to get Tom Collin on the screen now. And this is, of course, because Tom is originally from the United Kingdom. Tom, I'm adding you on the screen now. So Tom is originally a Britisher and now calls Queensland his home. So Tom, welcome to the Virtual Coffee Show. How are you today?
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure to have you, Tom. I'm obviously not your boss for the next 30 minutes, so be frank and chilled out about the answers. But
that's good.
Very interested to know what's the key. What are the few key reasons why you chose Queensland of all the different states and cities in Australia?
Of course, yeah. Look, first of all, thank you for having me on. Thank you so much from Nicole from Study Queensland for being here today, and obviously Mitsuki backstage from PNG Study Abroad as well. So it's pretty cool that we're doing a virtual live event. I think that's awesome. I actually came to Australia for a holiday, if I'm honest. I'd left London, told my boss that I would see him maybe in 3 or 4 months, keep my job for me, and I will be back. It wasn't actually until I was passing through Brisbane that I gave him a call and said, yeah, look, I'm not coming back. I quite like it here and I'm going to stay. So it's quite an interesting story. I started off in Sydney, went down to Melbourne, and then like most backpackers, got myself a camper van and drove from Melbourne all the way up to Cairns. So as I said, it wasn't until I was passing sort of midway through Queensland, be it Brisbane, that I decided that it really was for me. Australia and Queensland especially is where I wanted to be. I guess the reason for it, and the biggest credit to Queensland as a whole as a state, and Nicole obviously touched on it there, is diversity and, for me, lifestyle. Coming from London, obviously in the UK, it's a really big city, one of the biggest. It's very densely populated. There's not much open space. Everything is indoors. Everyone's cramped on each other. And you've got absolutely terrible transport as well. The public transport system is useless, whereas here in Queensland, Brisbane in particular, it's excellent. So it makes the commute to work certainly a lot easier. So for those kind of reasons, it definitely matched my lifestyle. I mean, from my point of view, I wanted to come to a place, a city where it's not only a beautiful city like Brisbane is, but you've got extremely good travel links to travel up and down the east coast of Australia, whether it's going up to your subtropical Cairns and seeing the Great Barrier Reef, or going a bit further down and staying where you are, the Gold Coast being a fantastic place for a night out, for a bit of food and maybe a drink or something like that, So for me, Queensland definitely is home. Brisbane definitely is home, and it's the best decision I think I've made in my life this far, I should say.
Fantastic. That's good to know, Tom. And you've obviously said a lot about good things about Brisbane, and you've said a lot about London. So be prepared to get trolled by fans of London City when this goes on air. But thank you for that feedback, Tom. I think it's good to get that perspective, because it's not just studying in Queensland, but it's experiencing life in Queensland. Yeah. And I think you touched on some very good points.
That's exactly right. I mean, from an Englishman coming over here to basically the furthest part of the world that you can get to, I was writing down a few. Obviously, I knew that we were going to be doing this, so I was writing down a few points earlier on really why Queensland especially captured me so much, and why it is now home. And I came up with a few points I had was, beaches, the rainforest, kangaroos and wildlife. How cool is that? Beautiful cities in Queensland. It's a great hub for travel, amazing food, amazing restaurants, amazing bars, clubs, live music venues. The work-life balance is something that Queenslanders get. So that's culturally just outstanding. The work-life balance is so important. It really, really shows when you're walking around the city and everyone's smiling and, says g'day, hello to you, rather than just head down in a completely different world of their own. As well, as I touched on earlier, which was quite important for commuting, especially if you're coming to university, easy access to public transport that's reliable and cheap as well. So that's always good. The cost of living over here, I think, Shrikant, you touched on it earlier, compared to Sydney and Melbourne, obviously Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland is considerably cheaper. So the cost of living is absolutely fantastic, and you've got those green open spaces, which I love, and ultimately the weather, and that kind of ties into sport as well. Queenslanders love their sport, so there's always stuff going on, whether it's the state of origin, the cricket, rugby, even the Socceroos. It's fantastic, and it's just an unbelievable place to be part of and to call home.
Awesome, Tom. Thank you for that. I'm just starting to worry. Nicole might start headhunting. She might actually offer you a job at Study Queensland.
Nicole,
I'm just worried about that.
If you ever need a rep for Study Queensland or any other sort of thing, let me know.
They'll do.
Terrible mistake, Tom.
No, I
Awesome.
understand. I understand the comments about lifestyle. That's something that is enviable. We have an enviable lifestyle.
100% lifestyle, work-life balance. The only thing I was slightly disappointed about is when I first got here, I thought there would be kangaroos absolutely everywhere. So hopping down Queen Street Mall in the middle of Brisbane, I thought you'd see a kangaroo. So I was slightly disappointed that you have to at least leave the city to see one. But they are there. I do like going and having a look. And places like Lone Pine in Brisbane, particularly, where you can go and pat and feed a kangaroo, I think is out of this world.
I have seen a kangaroo jumping down the street before. I'll just say it.
There you go. Only in Queensland.
You're lucky. No, you're right. I mean, I lived in Japan for 17 years, and I was working for Trade Investment Queensland in Japan, and like yourself, Tom, I was, talking about the ferries to work and the ferries to, taking a ferry to university along the beautiful Brisbane River, and
that's exactly
I sold Queensland to myself and came home.
That's exactly right. And with 280 days of sunshine a year in Queensland, coming from a place like London, where I think we might get 10 or 12 if we're lucky, is right up my street. And the outdoor lifestyle, the adventure lifestyle, and everything that it comes with is definitely why it's home for me. And I've always encouraged people to come and give it a go as well. I think up here in Queensland, we're really lucky with what we have. And like I said, it's not just Brisbane, it's Queensland as a whole. If you go out to rural Queensland, over past Toowoomba, even that way, you've got something completely different. And the dirt, the desert as such, or the outback, it's just absolutely stunning in its own right, as well as the beaches that we have. So there's lots to see, lots to do. And the great thing about it is as well, it's not too dense, so everyone has space, which is why I love it.
That's right. And just touching on your point about the sunshine, the days of sunshine, I mean, this goes back to my point about our major industries, solar energy research that's happening at, both UQ and QUT, and, that's all about harnessing that sunshine.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. 100%.
Yeah. And then we're moving into a lot of other renewable energies like hydrogen as well, which is very exciting.
Well, that's it. You've got wind, water, and sun all on the east coast of Australia or in Queensland, so it's about that renewable energy source.
That's right.
Saving the turtles.
Yes. A lot of
Awesome. That's good.
lot of good work happening at JCU in marine biology as well. So.
That's right. That's right. That's good. Tom, thank you for that, review of Queensland versus UK versus London and other cities as well. But, appreciate that perspective, Tom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you backstage for a few seconds, but stay backstage. There might be more questions for you.
No worries.
And
if not, thank you very much
thank
for
you.
me on anyway.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. So I'll get Mitski on the screen in a few seconds from now. Mitski, you will be on screen in 1 second. Mitski, welcome to the Virtual Coffee Show.
No worries, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show today, Mitski. And of course, you've been doing some amazing work in PNG, enabling access for top quality education for local students. And as we're seeing the results, we're seeing so many students from PNG studying here at James Cook University, and they're all doing well. I must say they're very studious and very with serious intent of studying, which is amazing. So congratulations to you on doing that fabulous job in PNG.
Thank you very much.
From you've been in the industry for a while, so from your perspective, what really is the big draw for PNG students? The big attraction for PNG students to choose Queensland? And to my knowledge, a large number of PNG students would choose Queensland over other states. So it will be great to know, your thoughts on that, your feedback on that.
Okay. I think, I guess, when Nicole was saying about what the diversity in the Queensland, that PNG don't rank into the top, but although the majority of PNG students actually go to Queensland. I think it's about 70 to 80% of them choose Queensland. Well, because it's very close from PNG, Cairns is on 20 minutes flight. Even Brisbane is 3 hours. And then there are a lot of PNG community already established in Queensland as well. Papua New Guineans really likes to stay connected with their families and relatives and their cultures. So, Queensland they find more comfortable to relocate from home PNG to Queensland, and also the climate is similar. Cairns for 2 years, and after I lived in Port Moresby first time, and then Cairns is like a more relaxed version of PNG, and I could really understand why PNGs choose to come to Cairns to try it out, test the water if studying in Australia is their thing. And then, some students, stay in Cairns, or they move down to Brisbane to further studies, and they find, Queensland as a second home.
Oh, that's good to know. And of course, Tom manages the PNG market. Tom, I'll actually bring you on screen for a couple of seconds, and just if you want to share quickly, you've been recruiting a lot of students from PNG. You are now the expert for recruiting Pacific students. So, what has been the key reason? When they come and study with us on the campus, you speak to those students as well. Is there anything you want to share that they like about Queensland, and particularly about maybe Brisbane City as such?
Yeah, look, obviously I'll echo what Matsuki from PNG Study Abroad obviously said, and what a wonderful job that she's been doing for us here at JCUB. There's a really strong presence of Papua New Guineans over in Queensland already, so that definitely helps. Everyone wants to go somewhere that's slightly different from home, but there's still that home connection, home ties, that sort of thing. So at the university, we do have a really great pool of students from Papua New Guinea that have either recently graduated or are studying with us now. And they do a lot of testimonials, that sort of thing, to new Papua New Guinean students who instantly kind of connect with that. And also, during orientation, that sort of thing, I actually invite back our graduated students to give them that sort of, a bit of a hello. I'm from Papua New Guinea. I've recently done this whole journey that you've embarked on. If you want any assistance, whether it be looking for somewhere to live, or the local Papua New Guinean groups where you might be able to buy these sorts of foods from that you might be similar to back home, let me know, that sort of thing. So it is that community sense of spirit, most definitely. I think that's what Papua New Guineans are looking for, that diversity. And at James Cook University, Brisbane, obviously we promote that. That's something we're really proud of and celebrate as well.
All right. Thanks, Tom, for that feedback on
No worries.
PNG. Yep.
I'm definitely no expert. Mitsuki's your lady. She's the expert.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Tom. So, Mitsuki, do you is there anything you want to ask while we've got Study Queensland, Nicole from Study Queensland here? Is there anything you want to, ask Nicole, or even ask James Cook University?
Not a specific question, but I just want to share that, after this pandemic situation, the border has been closed, and not just me as an agent, we're concerned what's going to happen in this industry, how are we going to recruit students. But I think especially James Cook University Brisbane did a really great job on shifting online delivery. And then I noticed that Tom and the recruitment team was very proactive, working close to the agent, and then giving a really good support to the students that the agent sent. And I'm really grateful for, our cooperation and collaboration together. And then that really makes a big difference as an agent to have recruit more students and promote positive impression about studying in Queensland. So after the border closure, I still receiving a lot of inquiries from potential students, and some PNG students actually studying at JC Brisbane from July online, and they are very excited to go down to Brisbane once the border is open. So I guess we are doing great. All of us doing a great job continuing promoting and cater for the students who don't want to give up their furthering studies. And I'm very happy working with JC Brisbane.
Great, thank you. That's good to know. Thank you for that feedback. So I'll ask you to be backstage. There might be more questions for you or from you, but I'll now bring Pavan Solanki from India on the screen. Thank you, Mercy, once again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pavan, here you are on the screen in a few seconds.
Hi, Shrikant. I hope I'm all right. Yeah.
Yes,
hi, Nicole.
You're all good, Pavan.
Yeah.
Hi.
I would really like to take this opportunity before we start to thank Study Queensland and JCU for all the support that they have extended to our students who are currently enrolled over there. Most of our students haven't come back. Even when their parents were calling them, they kind of refused to come back. So that says a lot about a place, especially during these times after the virus situation arose. And they seem to be doing pretty well. They were well supported through the crisis, and they are right now in a better space versus what we are here in India. So yeah, we feel happy for them. So thank you so much.
Sincerely, it's our pleasure to be able to support the students during this time. We understand that it's unprecedented times, and Queensland is very welcoming and supportive by nature. So we dropped everything basically to ensure that the students were supported. In many different ways. With counselling, with 24/7 online support. So that was very, very important for us to ensure that the students were receiving, the help that they needed. So thank you very much for that feedback. It's lovely. It's lovely to hear that they didn't want to, go home.
They're still there.
It's actually a very safe place to be at the moment because the Queensland Government has handled the COVID-19 response from a health perspective and admirably. As Queenslanders, we're very, very pleased with the way that it's been handled. We've had 0 cases for the last couple of weeks, so very pleased with everybody's compliance to the rules. And because of that, we've been able to contain and stop the spread.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you, Nicole. And of course, Pavan, you've been recruiting many students. Just speaking of James Cook University, Brisbane alone, we've got many students recruited via yourself in India. And they're all happy. We're looking after them, as you know, like our own family. Mm-hmm. So those who are going to Queensland, those who are happy, it will be quite instructive for the future students to make an assessment if that ticks their box of requirements. So that's the reason I'm very keen to know. Are there any points which you would like to share, Pavan, which many students have said about Queensland?
I would say yes. Every city, every destination has its own flavor, and I work with Global Reach, and we represent about 500 universities across 19 different countries. So that's quite a range of destinations to kind of share with the student and match their interest with. Queensland, of course, have been quite popular. We do face a lot of challenges, but students who've done their research and they know what they're getting into, whether it is Gold Coast or Cairns or other areas within Queensland. I would say students they value quality of life versus just rat race of the corporate world. They want to strike that right kind of balance. So it's a different kind of student that really gets attracted to Queensland as a state and Brisbane or Cairns or Gold Coast as a destination, I would say. And I guess over the last 40, 45 minutes, Nicole and others have beautifully covered. I'm like, I really want a clipping of what Tom said because I do face this challenge between students keen on going to the UK and really keen on we're trying to encourage them to consider Australia or Queensland as a destination. I think from a Britisher's perspective on UK would really help us in convincing them because Jaipur traditionally has been a very UK-centric city. I'm based out of Jaipur, and then we have a very strong connection in terms of UK institutions. So what I really want to do is make use of this opportunity and ask some very specific questions to Nicole, and these are basically questions that I've compiled with my parents, the prospective students' parents, their feedback, their anxieties. So and probably you are the best person, and I'm thankful to JCU to give this opportunity because no one better than you to to come and answer all these questions. Right. So, so I'll start with the first anxiety, I would say, of the parents. Uh, they are sold to the idea of experience, and if you remember our discussion, what Tom shared was all about the experience of what a student gets once he reaches Queensland. Now, given the current travel restrictions and we really don't have a clear defined date as to when we students would be able to travel across to Australia. There is a lot of hesitation in the minds of students and parents whether they should sign up for an online program or they should wait it out or how long it's going to be before they can travel. So any indication that you would want to share with the parents and any message that you would want to kind of share with them, that will be really nice at this point in time.
It is difficult to share, but because we don't have a crystal ball at the moment. But in saying that, we are working. One of our initiatives that we're working on as part of recovery is to how to bring students securely into Australia, and to be able to start that face-to-face study again. So many different teams across Australia, across Queensland, are coming together to work out those logistics. So rest assured, as soon as it is possible, we'll be piloting that project, to make sure that we can bring students back at some point when the approval happens for that, when the borders do open. In the meantime, Queensland has always been a front runner in external studies and in online studies because of our geographical diversity, because of our large state that we have, and students coming from out west of Queensland and studying from their cattle farms or from their all over the state. Students have been studying distance learning for many years. So it's been quite interesting to see many institutions, many universities in Queensland have been able to pivot to online quite easily because they were already set up for this. So in terms of quality education, I think for some time now we are going to be able to offer that same quality education through our universities online, or a mixture of blended face-to-face and online learning. So to rest assured that we hope to be able to welcome students face-to-face sometime in the future, but until then, I think we all need to embrace this new this new style of learning. And I think students all across the world are coming to terms with that. It's not just Queensland, it's the world that has to pivot. And I think we're doing it quite well.
Yes, I guess, and even recruiters like me, we need to kind of probably change our pitch, because as of till about 3 months back, our pitch about Australia was all about experience, and
Yes.
I guess for some time to come, that experience is not on offer. So that's unfortunate for the new students, and I'm really thankful that some students are still there and they did come back.
Yes.
Now, the second question that I have for you today is, we face a challenge because traditionally US is kind of correlated with quality education, Ivy League universities, and then comes UK, and then Australia is somewhere in priority 3 or 4. And we try and pitch in Australia also as a destination, not only for sports, not only for tourism, but also for education. And we try and pitch in the high quality work that our universities are doing in. For example, JCU has a fantastic medicine program that is recognized by the government of India, and other things. So we try and pitch in all of that. But the moment we say Australia, students do tend to restrict themselves to the big cities of Sydney and Melbourne. And Brisbane, of course, there's a certain percentage who likes the lifestyle, and they know where they're going. But somebody who's thinking between destinations is always in 2 minds between Sydney and Melbourne. Brisbane seems a distant city. And now we have Tom to kind of pitch Brisbane, of course, but anything else you would like to add, Nicole, as to why Brisbane and why not Melbourne and Sydney?
Why Brisbane? I think in terms of choice, I mean, Brisbane really is an education city. We have, a large number of universities here in the Brisbane city, including JCU Brisbane. But not only that, I think not only Brisbane, but all of the study destinations in Queensland, we've actually worked quite hard, and we can share the work that we've done with you after this, if you like, on rebranding or uncovering those key the key messages for each study destination. So in terms of CANS, what is that key message for students, and uncovering those key study areas that are unique. We're all about the right student to the right region for the right reasons. So, and we have a whole kit of marketing collateral that we can share with you that encompasses all of those messages. And I think it's about sharing with the students what they probably can't find themselves. And I think we've done a great job of uncovering, what essentially is on offer in CANS. Is it marine biology? What is on offer in Townsville? So I can share that with you if you like. After
that would be great. That would be great. I'll probably request you for that.
Yeah.
And my very, very last question for you for this morning, I think we're running out of time over here as well. Now, is in terms of part-time jobs, because an international student, their key concern is the ease with which they can get some part-time job, get some work experience, and possibly stay on for a couple of years, gain some international experience before they come back. Now, I'm aware about other state education departments. They do have dedicated desks that are supporting international students in terms of helping them finding part-time jobs or reaching out to employers and organizing employment exchanges, virtual employment exchanges to help international students. Is Study Queensland doing something similar? If you will highlight that, because that would really assure a parent.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned before, our new Launch You program which brings together all of the unique initiatives that our universities and TAFE and schools are doing, and also the new programs that we're running as well under one program. So these are providing experiences for students. These may not be paid experiences, but they're actual work experience to develop those employability skills for students. In terms of part-time work, there's at each of the universities there are places that can actually help to prepare resumes, jobs boards, things like that. And also our student hub network do actually provide counselling for careers and also for finding jobs. At the moment, things are a little different during these COVID times. Many people have been stood down from their jobs in hospitality and tourism. However, as we open up again, those jobs are, returning to normal slowly. Probably not the airline industries as yet, but certainly hospitality is coming back with people, going out to eat and enjoying, the outdoors again. So certainly not to the point where we were before COVID. So there's still some challenges. But in terms of employability programs, nurturing talent in Queensland is a major focus for the Queensland Government, and we're investing in that now and in the future. It will remain a priority for us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole, for answering all my questions. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
That's it.
That's
you
great.
so much.
So
everyone.
thank you very much, everyone. And of course, Nicole, I thought I'll ask you one very quick question. Which is the best university in Queensland? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, JCU is a wonderful place.
I'm just kidding. Of course, no. Thank you once again, Nicole, very much for joining the show. Mitski, thank you too, and of course, Pawan, thank
Thank you
you
for
for
having
joining.
me.
Tom, Collin, thank you very much.